I am in the most in the weirdest of places. Okay, I'm sitting on the floor. I was actually going to go live, but then I realized that we got so much going on here that I couldn't do it. And so I want to talk to you guys about the Reesa Teesa situation. The first thing I want to say before we even get started is this. And I talked about this before. You've heard me say this a million times. Water reaches its own level. That means that every person you encounter, especially those you date and those that you connect with physically, those people are a divine reflection of you. All right? No matter how sinister, how deeply troubled they are simply just a mirror. Now, this is hot wisdom, okay? And I know that this is, probably going to go over some people's heads, or they're going to probably think, no, my ex was nothing like me. I disagree. You have a right to disagree, okay? But we're talking about hut wisdom here, okay? Every person that you come across is a divine reflection of who you are and where you are in your spiritual development, okay? They're reflecting back to you something you need to work on, or something you need to refine, or something you need to develop. Some people come in our lives to bring out a new part of us that we don't know exists. Others come into our lives to expose how unhinged we are, okay? Now keep that. Yeah, I know, unhinged. Um, that's the first thing I want to say. The second thing I want to say is that um, you're not you it's called the law of compensation for a reason. You cannot get something in your life that is unlike who you are. That's why I constantly push to my readers and to the women who watch my videos, if there's something new you want, you have to become new. You have to become new, kind of like almost reborn in a sense. If there is something, a new level that you're trying to reach, you yourself have to be changed. In order for you to get that, you have to already be that. That's why I tell people, and that's, well, women, especially in my book, The Last Book, Woman, I said, if you want to be married, you have to be a wife already. Before your husband even comes, you have to already be working in that energy. You have to already be in that space before it can actually happen. Um, and so you have to have established that already in order for you to attract your equal. You always are. Um, and we don't like to admit that, especially those relationships that didn't work. We are less likely to go back and say, oh shoot, he was me. He was a divine reflection of me. But I want you to look at it this way. It's a divine reflection of where you were at the time. All right? Where how well evolved you were as a woman, how well evolved you were as a person, your understanding of yourself, your understanding of the world, all of that is reflected back to you in the mate. And as you were getting older, I would love to think that as we are getting older, we're getting better with ourselves. And so therefore our mates that we are attracting are, each time they're leveling up, they're getting better and they're getting better because we are getting better and getting better. Okay? I wanted to say that before I go into the Reesa Teesa. Stick there and understand where I'm going. All right? I've already told you that you cannot attract something that is not like you or unlike you, right? You have to already be working in that energy first. Water is always going to reach its own level, all right? I already told you that. And they're always a divine reflection of who you are and where you are in your spiritual, even emotional development, okay? Whether you have matured in that area or not, the person that you are going to attract is going to be a mirror of that. They're going to reflect back to you who you are. That's number one, okay? Now, my auntie and I, and that's where I am right now, sitting on her floor, actually, by the heater so I can warm up, because I had this short thing on outside, and it was, anyway, that's neither here nor there. But my auntie and I were talking about the Reesa Teesa situation, talking about, now my auntie is 76 years old, and as soon as she heard the Reesa Teesa story, she was invested in it. She was like, oh my goodness, she was invested in that thing. But she had so many questions that I had not even think, I didn't even think about it. And that's because, like, she's been on this planet longer, right? She has had more experience. She's come from a long line of sisters and a long line of daughters. So she's probably going to have those questions first because she has more experience. But the first question that she asked me was, so you telling me that girl ain't know that man was like that? Now, this is a no judgment free zone. You know I don't judge. But I want to teach. And I remember saying to her, we always know. We always know. The title of this is Not One Red Flag Was Missed. Because out there in, the internet land, internet streets, people are saying, okay, guys, somebody wants to say hello. They were coming upstairs while I was making a video, and I hit pause, and so he wants to say hello. So come on in, say hello.
Hello.
This is Jay. Say hi, Jay.
Hi.
Okay, say bye, Jay.
Bye.
All right, so back to what I was saying. That there was not one red flag that was missed. Not one red flag. And I'm going to tell you how I know that to be true, okay? It's because when I go back to video number 1, she actually was suspicious from the beginning. They moved a little fast after the first week or two. They didn't quite know each other, but that first date at the Cheesecake Factory in the car, they were in that car, she said, to 12 a.m. just talking and just, connecting and vibing, right? I'm adding the connecting and vibing stuff, but they were talking, and they were talking a lot, and they were both on the same page that they both wanted marriage. This was like straight to the point. I want marriage, you want marriage, we want marriage, let's do it. So on day 1 they were already discussing what they were looking for, which I think is very smart in dating. All right. By by the second date, these guys were already they were already connected in such a way that it was a good idea for him to come move in with her. Now, you guys know I'm a little old school. Elder Eden's teachers are a little old school. Elder Eden always says, allow him to come and get you. And that's because we're recognizing the primal instincts in the man, okay? I needed to say that. When we say let him come and get you, let him come for you, we're not just talking about, let him tell you that he likes you. No, we're talking about you're in your own home, all right? He's in his own home, okay? And if he wants to marry you, if he finds value in you, he'll pay your bride price and come and get you. Now, here in the U.S., we don't have a bride price, right? So we don't have a bride price, so there's no initiative or incentive to work towards something, right? But there's a way for American women to get that quote unquote bride price, and that is to have him have some sort of work in, some foot in the door, some grit, some trying. So I'm coming to get my wife, right? But when you reverse that, you relax the primal urges in the man. You relax that part of him, right? And he's coming with you versus him coming to get you. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if I'm articulating myself well because so much is going on, but that's what I want to say about that. So he came and he moved in with her, which for me, of course, I'm like, no. That is against hut wisdom. That is against hut wisdom. Now, granted, he was providing. And I don't know if you guys heard this in her story and the first wife's story. They all said the same thing. He was providing. And she talked about that. The first wife said it. All the wives have said, Teesa said, he was providing. She didn't have to pay a bill. Her check, she said, went straight to her. And that's an incentive to be blind. All right? I'm going to go somewhere, but hold on. Lisa said, she said it herself, that her check went directly to her. She didn't have to pay any bills because that was something that he took care of. And she said it felt good for once to have someone take care of her. All right? She said that. Go back to video 1. All right? She said it felt good. Video 2, she reiterates, She kept on reiterating that it felt good that she had someone who was taking care of things that she didn't have to. The other thing that I want to point out, which is me and my auntie went back and forth on this one. On day one, they met on Hinge. They swiped, they connected. They were going to go out to dinner to the Cheesecake Factory. But before they could get to the Cheesecake Factory, her tire blew out. And conveniently, around the corner from the Cheesecake Factory was a tire shop. So she called him and she used the damsel in distress. Okay? These are her words, not mine. She used that. This is the first date now. He says, no problem. I'm going to come and get you. He goes. Not only did he go and put the donut on, take her tire off, but put the donut on for her. Then he took her to the tire shop. Then he paid for the new tire. All right? So it wasn't, he was already up front, okay, providing or making provisions up front. We're not talking about the lying yet. We're not there. I'm setting the stage, so hang on with me. Because I know you're probably thinking, well, he was a liar. Hold on, we're going to take this step by step. That first date, he doesn't know her, she doesn't know him. They just matched on the app. He had come, changed the tire, put the donut on, took her to the tire shop, and paid for the new tire. Then they ate. He paid. He was putting out, showing effort, all right? And she used the damsel in distress, Jay. She used the damsel in distress, okay, as a way to activate something within him, all right? Now, this is why hut wisdom is so important. It's because sometimes we have these things that we're doing and there's no wisdom behind it, right? If you're going to activate certain parts of a man's masculinity, you must be sure that you are activating it in the right target, or you're going to have some missteps, okay? And missteps are not bad. They're teaching you, they're lessons, but you're going to have some. So she used that damsel in distress. And he caught it, and he acted, and he did well. And so she allowed him to pass go, all right? That story leads me to the car into which he made the down payment on for her. I believe it was a Nissan Altima. He had promised her a BMW. He gave her a few rides and trips and promising her houses and homes and $600,000 homes, $700,000 homes. My auntie asked me. She said after home number one, because after home number one, you guys remember this. After home number one, she was suspicious. She researched. And she found out that the home was never under contract under him, but it was under contract under another couple. And specifically, she was investigative enough to find out that it was actually an older white couple. So my auntie, who's older, and she's 76, if you think for a moment that there was a flag missed and you haven't been watching the series, this young lady did not miss a red flag. From house number one, she had already investigated who the house was under contract with, okay? She found out that it was an older white couple, right? She found that out on house number one. Also in that same video, she says that she knew he was going to come in with some bullcrap, but she wanted to let him have that. She wanted him to have that, and she didn't want to argue because she figured he's paying all the bills. I'm good. I have nothing to worry about. I'm going to let him have that lie. All right? She said, I'm going to let him have that lie. Honey did not miss a red flag. There was never a red flag missed. She caught all of them. All right? She was catching all of them. She didn't miss one. The most important piece to take away from this this video today is, right? Our truths are our truths according to how we experience them, okay? And the question is not whether or not I believe the story, because that's not the question. The question is kind of what my auntie had proposed, which was, why not house number one? When you say, I knew he was lying, but I wanted to let him have that because he was paying all the bills and it felt good to have to relax. And I said, well, that's the answer, auntie. That's the answer. There are women who want to be kept wives. They don't know how to go about that. And so they have information upon information, some of it misinformation, but they have these ideas on what it means to be a kept wife and what it means to get a provider male. They have these ideas. And so, yes, if you have to be blind to his infidelity, because there are women who do that too, they're very blind to the infidelity so that their lifestyle doesn't change any. There are women who are blind to the lies. They can take it a little bit more if you're paying the light bill. And if that light comes on, that cable comes on, I get to ride my car. If that is happening, I'm willing to take a little bit more than I would if you weren't doing nothing. If you had nothing, you wouldn't be here. Okay? So what I get from this, and I haven't been doing any readings. I don't do readings anymore because energetically it causes issues, and I don't want that. But this is just me talking from a hut wisdom perspective. If you are going to be a kept wife, I want you to understand something, okay? You make the rules from day one. If a man decides that he wants to keep you and take care of you, all right, you make the rules. If he makes the rules, all right, and you're a kept wife, then anything goes. Anything goes, and all you have to do is be blind, shut your mouth, and know your place, because that is the part of the game. That's a part of the game, and if you can't play that part of the game, then get out. For some people who are playing the kept wife role, all right, part of that means come in. You know how your grandmama used to say, come in this house and sit down somewhere, don't you say nothing? That's part of the game. And some of these young girls want to play the game, but they don't understand how serious the game really is. Our grandmothers and our aunties and our mothers, some of them played the game. All right? If you want to play the game, know what it is. Know what it is and understand it. You got to come on in here, sit down somewhere. Come on in here, sit down somewhere. You hear? All right? The other part of that is that if you have nothing, if you don't have your own, you're probably going to take a little bit much. You're going to take a little bit more than the woman who has the flexibility to choose what she's going to allow in her life. And for some people, infidelity is a deal breaker. For some people, extramarital affairs is a deal breaker. For some people, lying is a little too much. Now, there is one piece that I want to ask the question to. Would you marry someone who you knew was suffering from a mental illness? Possibly a debilitating mental illness. Perhaps I should ask it this way. Would you marry someone? You married someone and later find out that they had a mental illness. Do you stay married? Because marriage says, for better, for worse, sickness and health, through death do us part. Are you committed to those vows? Or is the marriage vows much more like, as long as it's good for me, then I'm in it. As long as it's good for me, I'm in it. Or, as the wife, if you find out that your spouse is suffering from a mental illness, are you supposed to help them ride that wave, help them get the help that they need? Or do you pipe out? Because that's too much. I didn't sign up for that part of marriage. I only signed up for the wellness part of marriage. I only signed up for the truthful part of marriage. I only signed up for, and this is what I put in the book, Woman. We want the marriage under conditions, but we don't tell people what those conditions are. We say in sickness and health and death do us part. Some of us even come up with our own vows. But do they mean anything? I remember having a video a while back. I should probably make it available because one of my tribe members told me to make the videos available again. But I should probably make that video available. I talked about, is there any truth to what you're saying, or are you just talking? Do you just want the ceremony? If you want the ceremony, just say, I want the dress, I want the ceremony, and I want the ring. I really don't care about the man. Well, I care about being, the bills being paid, but I don't really care about the man. If that is the case, if you don't really care about the man, if you care about the bills, if you care about the dress, the wedding, and the beauty in saying, that's my husband, and he says, that's my wife. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you want, you gotta take it for what it's worth. My mother used to say it, you made this bed, you gotta lay in it. Or do you? Those are all the things I wanted to propose. Do you marry someone who has a mental illness, right? And let's say you didn't know, and you marry him. As the wife, are you required to help them get the help they need, at least to try to help them navigate those waters? Or do you pipe out because it's too thick of a ride? And you didn't sign up for that part of the ride. You signed up for the fluffy pie in the sky. Well, that's the problem that I have with today's dating coaches. And this is why hut wisdom is so important. It's because today's dating stuff is always dealing with the surface. Everybody wants to live the soft life, but nobody understands that, guess what? Life ain't always soft. All right? Sometimes you skin your knee. Sometimes you make bad investments. Okay? It's about how you ride the wave that matters. And for all of my videos, I've always said you choose. You choose the kind of life you want. You choose the kind of mate you want. And when you choose wisely. If you're going to choose the whale, you better know that there's going to be some extramarital affairs out there somewhere, especially if you are barking and you're nagging and you're too much. Oh, he's going to pipe out. And if you're going to marry the honeybee, there's going to be some extramarital affairs out there. You better shut up, get in here, and sit down somewhere. If you are going to marry the boar, if you're going to marry the penguin, you marry the penguin when you want monogamy. When you want a monogamous male, you marry the penguin. All right? What if you want somebody that's going to tell the truth? What if that is a deal breaker for you? What if lying is a deal breaker for you? Well, if it is, you need to find out the person's personality type. Because once you get married, what do your vows really mean? Do they have any weight? Or is it simply just a piece of paper so that you can get the coin? That's all I have. If you're going to be a kept wife, figure it out. If you're a woman when you decide to get married, because remember, there's a whole chapter about marriage in the book. You guys remember the whole chapter? It tells you whether or not you are fit for marriage. And what did I say in the book? Are you able to compromise? If you can't compromise, then you don't need to be married. If you're able to concede an argument, then you're fit for marriage. If you have to be right all the time, then maybe not. I'm a Leo woman, and most of the time I am right. Okay? But these are things you have to know about yourself. That's why reading the book is important. I didn't like that we were selling women these dreams without giving them a roadmap, so to speak, to kind of figure it all out. There's no rite of passage. You just, go past go. Girl, get your money, get your bag, and go. Or what's that song? I almost said it. It's get the money, get the head, and leave, something like that. If that's what you're going to get. My mother used to say you're going to leave with a wet box and that's it. My mama was like that, okay? But yeah, think about that. Think about what matters to you. Go back to the book Woman, read the whole chapter on marriage, find out if you're fit for marriage, if you want marriage, do you want to be a kept wife, and then you figure out how that works. And then you match it up according to that, all right? With Reesa Teesa, I wish her nothing but the best. I hope she's not jaded in love, all right? But my spidey senses tell me that perhaps she was already jaded before she met him. Until next time, be empowered, be inspired, and be well. You are the energy you attract.